Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name's Laura, and I'm from Text Help, and this is my colleague, Jake. Today, we're going to do a very brief webinar. We're not going to keep you too long on accessibility in maths. Jake's going to start it by doing a quick slide introduction, then a demo, and then I'm going to take over as well. Just a wee bit of housekeeping. There's no live captions, but we can provide this afterwards along with the recording if required. There is an area on the right-hand side of your screen where you can comment as well. So feel free to throw in a comment, say hello, say where you're from, interact as much as possible. As we're going through, we try to give you some maths examples, but if you want us to try anything when you see the prediction working, etc., just throw it into the comment. Either me or Jake will pick it up. So hopefully, as I said, we'll not keep you too long. We know webinars can be a wee bit long and it's a lot to take in. So we'll go as quickly as we can. So hopefully you enjoy it. And what I'll do is I'll pass over to Jake now to get us going.
Thank you very much, Laura. So as Laura mentioned, I am just going to briefly start with a few slides, and then I'll go into showing you a bit of the software, and we promise we will not keep you very long. So I'm just going to add my screen here, and hopefully you can all see this lovely slide deck with a perfect image of me and Laura on it. So as Laura mentioned, I'm Jake, and my role here is the HE specialist, and Laura will be your FE specialist. And of course, we are here to talk about Equatio, because that is the tool that's going to provide you with the accessible and inclusive maths. Now, Equatio isn't something that's completely brand new. It's been around for a little while, and the way to show that is by saying that it has over 3 million users around the world. So therefore, it's a tried and tested piece of software. Millions of students are using it, and it's good to know that the more students that use it, the more familiar they become with the software, the better the software gets for meeting students and staff's needs. So it works across multiple different platforms. So it's designed to work where students are currently working. Okay, so it's going to work in Google, Mac, Windows. We have a lovely math space there, which I think Laura might show you. And then we've also got Equatio for LMS as well. So Equatio is going to be able to give you that sort of accessible tools to be able to use in your LMS systems, Brightspace, Canvas, Schoology, as you can see there. Now, I like this slide because it shows a level of continuity between the software and providing students with the tools such as Equatio, because it grants students with an opportunity to be able to understand, comprehend, create, and do so many different things with the content that they've actually got, and the content that they're continuously learning. And I feel like it's really, really important to give students that opportunity through the use of software such as Equatio, and really sort of listen to their voice, really listen to what it is that they need from a piece of software and take that in, and then sort of tailor the software to the students' needs. And that's very much what Equatio does with the handwriting recognition, with the speech input, prediction. There's so many different features in Equatio that are specifically designed to benefit students working across schools, colleges, higher education. I feel like it's also very important to be able to provide them with that tool so that they can understand the content, they can comprehend the content, and therefore become a lot more comfortable and confident in delivering that content as well. And I've already covered that, but it's really for students to be able to understand the content that's being given to them, but also create content using the likes of Equatio to be understood, and put their thoughts, put their minds down on paper and be able to allow lecturers and support staff and everybody else to see what it is that they can do. So making math digital and accessible. So there's several different features within Equatio. I've touched on a few there, but you've got the handwriting, you've got speech input, LaTeX. You've also got Equatio mobile. We will dip in and out of these in the short session that we've got today. If you do want to find out any more about any of the tools, please just absolutely reach out to either of us. But you've got integrated graphing with Desmos, and of course, it's designed to work across those platforms as well. So one of the things that we got told a lot was, okay, yeah, but students even throughout HE and FE, they love handwriting. And one of the biggest things was that we're not taking that away from them. And I think one thing that we are trying to do is support that integration of tech in maths. I feel like it's something that is quite behind, so hopefully Equatio can help bridge that gap. A bridge a gap that used to look a lot like this in terms of the tools that used to be provided to students and still are, for students to be able to create digital math And this in itself as a piece of software can be somewhat, same as this one, somewhat a minefield. But you've got Equatio for desktop, so Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint. You can also use it across the G Suite, which I think Laura's actually going to show you a little bit of as well. And you've got a load of different useful guides and resources and things like that. But before Laura gets around to showing you all of those, I am just going to jump into our Word doc here. And I'm going to show you a little bit of our Equatio software. So the Equatio toolbar is just along the bottom of your screen here. And now the features along the toolbar are the equation editor, LaTeX editor, you've got graph, handwriting, speech, Equatio mobile, and then you've also got this lovely screenshot reader, as well as what we call the STEM tools. Really, what I'm going to focus on today is the accessibility of the content that Equatio creates. So, for example, the content that's already on this page here was created using Equatio. It was actually created using the equation editor here. And because it's created using Equatio, that means that a screen reading technology can actually read it aloud because there's alt text built in behind it. So screen reading technology such as read and write, when it decides to formulate there. If I click the play button from read and write, it is going to read that aloud for me. It's going to give you dual color highlighting and then read it and pronounce each line as it goes. Or another way to do that is by using our screenshot reader tool. So our screenshot reader is very similar to what you would find in read and write if you're familiar with that. But what it does is it just allows me to highlight a piece of content. And then once I've highlighted it, it's going to bring it up in the box, and then it's going to read it aloud to me, which you should hopefully hear in a second.
3 lines, line 1, 3x plus 2, y minus c equals 1.
So as you can see there, 3 lines, line 1, and then it's going to continue to read that aloud to me. I have the play and pause button there. I have the ability to copy this content, save it as all of these different formats, or in fact, just edit it in Equatio. So it's going to bring it up into the box here and just allow me to make any edits I need to the content. But from an accessibility point of view, to be able to just have that content read aloud, it's going to give students that have potentially many different individual needs the option to be able to hear that math clearly and be able to understand and comprehend it. Now, that screenshot reader doesn't only just work in Microsoft Word, for example. It will also work in a PDF, for example. So if I move across to a PDF that we've got here, so this is just an old exam paper, for example. But what Equatio is going to do is, if I use a screenshot reader again, I have the ability to just simply highlight over the information. And as you can see there, again, it's going to read out loud to me.
dy over normal dx equals.
As you can hear. But I think the nice feature about this is that the fact that PDFs are generally just inaccessible documents, and they are known to be that. So the fact that we're able to copy all of this information in different areas, such as copy this as LaTeX, for example, okay, and now I can just go back into my Word document, and if I just go into my LaTeX editor in the toolbar and clear what I was previously working on, all I have to do is copy and paste, and you'll see that the information that I copied from the PDF, I can now bring directly back into my Word document. Now, the reason the content is so big there is because I've went into the settings and I've changed it to enlarge the text, which again is another accessibility feature within Equatio. So what you can see there is that information that I've just copied from a web page directly in my Word document there. And again, it's accessible. It can be read aloud. It has alt text built in behind it, as I'll show you now. So if you right click, go to edit alt text, you should have the alt text just built in, just behind the math that Equatio creates. There you go. So there's your alt text. Now, again, going from something as inaccessible as a PDF, moving to a web page, again, students have the ability to be able to have this read aloud to them. And I feel like text-to-speech is something that is really, really useful to students, particularly now when it can be used on math content. So again, it's going to do the exact same thing, give me the option to copy it and move it around and chop and change as and when I need to. But another thing that I do want to show you is our Equatio mobile software. So we've seen text-to-speech and we've seen how that can work, the screenshot reader, and how you've got the ability as a student or a staff member to copy and paste different pieces of content to different places, making it so much more accessible. Now we've got Equatio mobile, which essentially gives students and staff the ability to be able to do several things from the toolbar on a mobile device. So all they have to do is when they've opened up their Equatio toolbar, is just click the Equatio mobile feature down here. Now it's compatible with Google Chrome on Android or Safari on Mac. But what you've got here is the ability to just click this m.equate.io, and it will bring up Equatio mobile. I'm just going to hide my Equatio toolbar for a second. And what you'll see here is I have the ability to handwrite, speech input, or this lovely capture method here. Now this capture method, what that's going to do is going to allow me to take a picture of any handwritten maths. And once I've done that, it can then OCR scan it and then upload it directly into a digital document. But before it does that, it's going to convert it into the digital format. So what you'll see in a second is exactly what it'll do from a picture. So if I just jot away here, so let's go y equals x4. This is very rough, bear in mind, but it's hopefully going to pick it up and do the job as to what I need it to do. We'll just tidy up the 3 there. And then if I click Save as Math here, as you can see, it's picked it up. It's been able to understand exactly what it was I was trying to get across, even if it was very rough on the page. But now what I can do is I can add this to any active document. So I selected my Word doc that I had opened earlier. And now what it's going to do is it's going to input that information, as you can see there, directly into my working doc, which is my Word document that I was working on. Now, again, I can do that with speech input. I can also do that with the capture method as well. So what that's going to allow me to do is just snap a picture on a mobile device of any written content that I've got and just simply upload that into my online document, my active document. But again, with those features there, you've got the ability to save as math, which is going to digitally convert it, or you've got the option to save as an image. So I can just essentially take a screenshot of whatever I put down onto my mobile device and send that straight into my online document, which would hopefully be really, really useful for students to be able to utilize at their fingertips. Because as we know, more and more students are actually trying to do everything they can from their mobile device. So giving them the option of several accessibility features on their mobile device is hopefully going to benefit them in the long run. So I am going to hand over to Laura, and hopefully she takes it away for the second half of this and shows you a couple more things for Equatio. But if you have got any questions, please do fire them into the chat feature. I think you're muted there, Laura.
Oh, if you don't say that once during a demo or in a meeting, are you even doing working from home? So, can you see my doc now?
All good, all good.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. You'd think I would know after a year working from home to unmute myself. I think sometimes people mute me on purpose, to be honest. So thank you for that, Jake. I'm just going to really pick up where Jake has left off. So Jake demonstrated Equatio within a Microsoft setting, and what I'm going to do is just show it in a Google setting. And to be honest, there's very little different, but I think it is just good to for people to understand that it works across both platforms. So there's people out there that are Google colleges, some are Microsoft, and again, it depends on what the student is using at home here as well. So I'm just going to show you a few features, and again, I'm very cautious of the time, and I do not want to take up more than 30 minutes of your time today. So the first thing I'm going to do here is prediction. So everybody knows what prediction is. Predictive text, we're used to it on our phones. Students love to use it as well. But there is a reason why people love to use it. It's easy. Okay, it's helping us. It's going to be a lot quicker for us to use. And the good thing is that it's going to create formulas and equations that the student doesn't have to remember. So it's going to remove that stress for the student as well. They don't need to remember the keyboard shortcuts. They don't need to go into the likes of Microsoft and have that very clunky toolbar sitting there. They can quickly go into the equation editor within Equatio. Okay, so for example, it's asking me to solve 4x. So this is a quadratic formula. So the first thing as a student that I may need is the actual formula for quadratic formula. So I'm just going to push this up, okay? What I then could do is add it again. But as if you can see when I add it, I'm actually able to amend it here. I'll amend it here to show some of my working out so you get the idea. What this is going to create is a very well laid out format for you as a teacher to be able to mark. I'm going to add it in one more time. Again, amend it. Oh, sorry. Oh, don't know why it's doing that. Okay. So I have created the quadratic formula there 3 times. That would not be easy to do in any other software out there at the minute. I've amended it to show some of my working out. And what I'm going to do is use the button on the right-hand side to insert that into the document. Minimize Equatio, and there you go. So not only is it going to reduce stress for your students, they're not going to have to remember all these formulas and equations, but they're going to be able to hear and understand the math language a wee bit better. So as Jake showed you there, you can use this screenshot reader and hear the whole thing back. So they're going to be able to hear what a quadratic formula sounds like. They're going to be able to hear if they've made any mistakes as well. But you as a teacher will then be able to see exactly their thought process very, very easily in a digital format. So that's prediction. So we'll just go back in here, delete some. So I'm just going to throw in a few formulas that we may need here. So by typing in 3 letters, it's popped up all the area formulas or volume, for example. All the volume formulas there as well. And then say, for example, they're studying physics, wavelength or frequency. And again, as you can see, I can go in here and edit this as well. So they're able to find the formula very easily with a very few keystrokes, and they're able to edit it as well. Okay, so the level of work that you get back should be a lot higher, and it's a lot neater and hopefully easier for you to mark. So that's one toolbar. And again, we're doing the very basics here. This does a lot more than this. But again, we just want to introduce you to the software at the minute and what it can do for accessibility for your student. So we'll scroll down the page. I'll just move this on to the next page so it looks a wee bit neater when I'm doing it. To solve the linear equation. So I'm just, as a wee reminder to me, I'm going to show you handwriting and speech input. So Jake already showed you handwriting there within the Equatio mobile app, but I'm going to show you it here within the Equatio toolbar. So there's the handwriting recognition there. If I click it, it opens the Equatio toolbar for me. So I'm just going to work out and show the working out here. So it would be 6x equals 30. Oh, that's not very clear. Undo that. What actually picked it up there? 30. And then x equals 5. So that is a scribble. Okay, so I'm sure you're aware there is some students out there that their handwriting isn't very easy to understand. This gives them the option of working in the same format that they're used to. So pen on paper. If you see me, I have notebooks everywhere. I am just a pen and paper sort of girl. This means that it's not too stressful. You're not saying, okay, we're removing you from pen and paper. All of a sudden start working digitally. It means that it's a small change at a time. Just get them used to handwriting. The handwriting picks up perfectly on the right-hand side. Now, it doesn't always pick it up. So say, for example, it got some of this wrong. On the right-hand side here, I can go in and quickly amend it. And then you would just insert that as well. And then minimize this to see it. And there's your working out there. Now it's put it up there. That's where my cursor must have been. So it inputs it where the cursor would have been. So prediction, it's going to provide a library of equations and formulas at the touch of their fingers. It's going to reduce the stress, and it means then if they're not stressed thinking of the formulas and the equations, they can begin to enjoy and actually learn the maths and what they need to do. Handwriting is a nice tool if you're moving somebody from pen to paper. Moving them straight to digital can be a bit of a stress for them. And some people, like me, just prefer pen and paper. Okay, so just let them use the pen and paper, but you as a teacher get a lovely, well laid out answer. So you can check and understand their thought process there. So speech input does exactly what it says on the tin. So you've probably noticed I speak fast and I have a very broad accent. And this picks me up pretty well. So I'll just show you that. So I'm just going to do the quick question that I was just doing there. So 6x equals 30. New line. X equals 5. Picked it up perfectly. And again, it may pick up the odd wee error. You can go in here quickly and amend it. As I say, it's always a lot easier to amend something than start from scratch. So they can amend that, they can create the math. So the good thing here as well is I have an awful bad habit of saying, when I'm talking, especially in webinars, it will not pick that up. It will only pick up the math. Okay, so even for example, if I wanted here to find the quadratic formula, there we go. Again, less keystrokes, not as much use on the keyboard. I'm been able to find and access math that I may have struggled and stressed with before. This is just, again, it's multiple means of expressing the math, but it's given me choice and opportunity to figure out how to get math onto paper and to show the teacher the working out as well. So we'll just minimize that. So handwriting, speech input and prediction. Yeah, that was the majority of me and Jake between us have went over the majority of the toolbar here, but there's one extra piece I want to show you, and that's the math space. So you either click your toolbar here, or if you're in Microsoft, you just use the Equatio, what's it called? It's Equatio.TextHelp. So you would just put that into your browser, okay? So that's the only difference. On Microsoft, you wouldn't see this icon, but you can still access it as a web browser. So when you click that, it opens up Equatio Math Space. And this is, without a doubt, my favorite part of this software. As you can see in pen and paper, when I'm learning stuff, when I'm going over stuff, I make notes, I doodle. That's just my thought processes all go down onto paper. And this is an alternative to that. So down here at the bottom, you have everything that we've shown you. So you can use the prediction. You want to type some very basic math, insert it. All of that's still available here. You can use the speech input, you can use the handwriting recognition. But on the right-hand side here, there's extra tools. And these extra tools are going to allow the student to be able to visualize the math a wee bit more. There's manipulatives, there's an ability to draw all of these shapes. So we'll scroll down a wee bit slowish to kind of give you an idea of what's there. But you also, there's examples on the next page. So as a student, I can visualize the math. There's also a compass, a protractor, so I can work out angles on page as well. And then there's the STEM tools, which I'll cover as well. So as you can see here, there's different pages on the left-hand side. So as a teacher, and I'll show you my example on the next slide, you can create an assignment here or a workout sheet here and send this through to them. So just like Blue Peter, here's one I created earlier. So as you can see in the left, this has been created by me. For example, this would be you as a teacher. You create this assignment and you send it out to them. The good thing about this is you've created this with Equatio. So all the accessibility features are inbuilt. So slide 3 here. A student may look at that and think, what formula do you need? I don't know, because I don't even know what shape that is. See, if I click this shape, this toolbar appears on the right-hand side. And if I click speech, it will tell me what it is. So you can't hear it because of my earphones in, but it said reddish square base pyramid, okay? Anybody that's on Twitter or LinkedIn at the minute, there's a big push around accessibility. So when we put up an image or a banner advertising our webinars, you do the alt text and you explain what that image is. That's a massive accessibility tool, and it's just it just should be done naturally. Now, I don't always do it on Twitter. Sometimes I forget, and that's very bad practice. I'm really trying to get into the habit of doing that. But it's explaining what an image is to that person. So I now know this is a pyramid. So you're asking what formula do I need? I can very easily go down here to my equation editor and start to type volume. Volume of pyramid. There we go. Oh, sorry, there's edit, insert that into the math. Now, it does come out initially quite big. Again, some people with visual difficulties may need that. But again, you can resize it and just put it in here. And again, I can hear that read aloud if I want. So then the next question is, what is the volume? So again, you can then put into the equation editor the formula and amend it. So the base is 10 multiplied by 5. Again, I'm just going to resize this just so it looks slightly neater and put it in there. So in this one slide, I'm able to demonstrate the level of accessibility within Equatio, being able to put the alt text behind images. find formulas through prediction, the text-to-speech, all of this is available within here. But this is a nice one here, real examples of pyramids. So some of your students, you're trying to explain maths to them, and they just don't get it. They need real life examples. Why do I need to know this? What looks like a pyramid, for example? So what you can actually do is add in images here. So I can go up to the top here and import files. And here's one I downloaded earlier. So I import the file of the pyramid. Okay, so it's giving them a real life example of what a pyramid looks like and why they may, in some point in the future, need to know how to work out the volume of that pyramid. Okay, so in this area here, this is definitely what I prefer to work in because I get to see the image. I get to import actual images off the internet. There's so much more that I feel that I can do in this area in the math space itself. But as a teacher, it's very easy for you to create assignments and send accessible assignments out as long as you create it within here. So let's look at slide 4. Okay, so it's a basic, it's asking you to add. That's what we're asking you to do, but it's put in a nice visual aid to ask you to add in twos. Okay, so it's just putting a bike in, making it more visual, making it more real life. If you've seen 7 cyclists, how many bikes would there be? As an example. Down here then, as a teacher, we normally work off books. It's not what we've done in the past. I don't have time to write out this whole entire book into a digital format, but what I'll do is I'll take a picture and upload it into the math space, and the student can show they're working out on the right-hand side here as well. So that's just an example. I'll scroll through so you kind of see an example here. So measure all internal angles. I can go down and find my protractor, and I can measure the angles. I can then rotate it if I need to as well, and label clockwise if required. Again, very easy, anything. So you would have thought to measure an angle would have been pretty difficult online, but here's me giving you an example of how to use it as well. So I'm very cautious of the time. There's me saying I'll keep you half an hour, and of course I'm chitter-chattering away here. So page 8, this pulley was created with the images within Equatio. All the text was created. Again, speech is on the right-hand side. I can hear the text and I can hear the math as well. So just to give you an example of, so we've kind of went through the shapes there. You can kind of see some of the smart shapes that exist, even a clock. You're teaching someone the time. You can amend this clock, etc. But the STEM tools, periodic table. Don't have to jump, don't have to go onto the internet, go into any other platform. I can click on any of the periodic table and add it to the equation editor. And it appears down there. This is a great visual aid and a great description without me going anywhere else other than Equatio. The next one is the calculator. Again, there's calculators online, all within the one program. They're not got 10 programs open and they're jumping. It's about making everything easy for them so they're not stressed and that they can access everything at the same time. And then the last one is the molecular viewer. As a mother of a 3-year-old boy, my favorite word is caffeine. I never drunk it before he was born, and now I'm about 3 a day. And there's the view of it. This here to me is all about the images, the visualization, and real life examples. The accessibility is just everything within this is about accessibility and giving them multiple means of accessing the math and expressing their math as well. So I think I've covered everything. I'll just go back here and remove my screen. Jake, I'll just add you back in. Okay, happy enough. So was there any questions come through there?
There was a couple, but I've answered them on the chat, so everybody should be up to speed. I've said if anybody does want to find out anything more about any of the features that we've shown today, Laura, just reach out, get in touch with us, and we can absolutely make sure that we can provide something a little bit more tailored to suit exactly what it is they're looking for.
Yeah. So Jake mentioned the resources there. I'm just sharing my screen again here now, Jake. This is a list of the resources. As you can see here, with actual physical guides that you can read. There's a training portal. There's also short videos. And these 15-minute coffee cup webinars are just short videos of what each feature does. If you would like access to any of them, feel free to drop us an email. And there's the email address on the screen at the minute. And as always, me and Jake are always available. If you have any questions, the recording will be automatically sent to you so you can watch it back. But if you have any questions or anything, there's Jake's email. I forgot to put mine on. So you can all email Jake your question.
Yeah, there you go.
Email Jake. So no, thank you. Look, we've done that in 30 minutes, Jake. That was our goal of the day.
There we go.
So
Brilliant.
any questions, if you would like to trial it or like any further information, please do get in touch. It was nice to see you all.
Thanks very much.